Right, good evening and welcome to tonight's health webinar. Congratulations for making the time to tune in tonight and to get some information on how you can protect your health and that of your loved ones. Hi, my name is Patrick Mather-Pike from Port Elizabeth. For more than 30 years, my wife and I have been involved in the health and wellness industry as Neolife distributors. It's our dream to make a positive difference in people's lives by sharing what the very latest science is telling us and empowering them to take control of their health. Tonight, we're going to be looking at diabetes, more specifically type 2 diabetes. So before I start, I need to actually explain the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. In type 1, it's caused when the pancreas cannot make insulin. So this is non-curable, and the only solution is that insulin has to be taken, either in a tablet form or by injection. Type 2 diabetes is caused when the pancreas has difficulty manufacturing enough insulin and when the cells become resistant to the insulin. This is the result of years and years of bad diet putting stress on the pancreas, and I'll explain more in detail as I go along. What is clear is that type 2 diabetes is a worldwide epidemic. The World Health Organization put these slides out a few years ago to highlight the problem. As you can see here, this was in about 2004. They said that 347 million people have diabetes. Well, the latest figures that I could find on the World Health Organization website estimate that in 2014, over 422 million people now have diabetes. This growth is far more than they ever expected, so it's really becoming a major problem. They also said that diabetes is predicted to become the 7th leading cause of death in the world by 2030. But in the USA, it's now officially the 3rd leading cause of death, and in Mexico, it's number 1. And in South Africa, we aren't very far behind. In 2004, it was estimated that 3.4 million people died from diabetes or the consequences thereof. But in 2015, the latest figures show that 1.6 million deaths were directly caused by diabetes, and another 2.2 million deaths were attributed to high blood glucose and the complications. This means that on average, about 3.8 million people are dying every year from diabetes. Cardiovascular disease is responsible for a large percentage of death of people with diabetes, and you'll hear more about that just now. Diabetes is also the leading cause of blindness, amputation, and kidney failure. And 80% of the deaths occur in low and middle income countries. As you can see from this graph, diabetes is increasing most rapidly in Asia, Africa, and South America. So that's really worrying. As you can see, it's a big problem. And what's even more frightening is that researchers believe that for every person diagnosed with diabetes, there will be 2 more in a pre-diabetes state. So they're estimating that that could result in 1 billion people actually suffering from diabetes. Just as big a problem is the fact that conventional medical solutions for diabetes do not seem to be good for your long-term health. There's been considerable controversy over the drugs used to control, and note I use the word control, not cure, diabetes. The most popular drug, Avandia, was found to be potentially lethal. It was reported to have killed over 100,000 people in the US alone, and has now been withdrawn from the market in the UK, Europe, and the USA. Actos has been implicated in increasing women's chances of breaking bones and causing cancer, while metformin side effects are frightening. They include gastrointestinal disturbances, increased risk of heart attack. Now we see that heart disease is the biggest killer of people with diabetes, and here the very drug that's supposed to be looking after it is increasing your risk of heart attacks. Vitamin B12 deficiency, which is implicated in the increase in Alzheimer's disease and a potentially fatal condition known as lactic acidosis. So you don't want to really be taking these drugs. In South Africa, the problem's becoming really drastic. Okay? It's estimated that over 70% of women in South Africa are overweight and over 40% are obese. And that's raised the fear that possibly 2 out of every 3 women in this country will be diabetic by 2025. Now, before you start laughing, guys, you're not far behind. In fact, the latest figures show that 41% of men, more than 41% of South African males are overweight. Now, the bad thing about these figures is that overweight parents often have overweight children, which means that the problem is escalating into the next generation fast. So what's the alternative? Well, let's start looking at what type 2 diabetes is. Because if we understand what it is and how it works, then we're better able to understand how to prevent it. Simply put, diabetes occurs when we have an excess of sugar in our blood. Now, excess sugar in the blood is very toxic in large amounts. It's highly corrosive to arteries and veins, brain cells, kidneys, and your eyes. It also feeds infections, cancers, and promotes blood clots. Okay, you know now why people with diabetes get a lot of heart disease. This excess sugar comes primarily from what we eat. A diet high in refined carbs, white sugar, white flour, white bread, sweets, fizzy cool drinks, cakes, breakfast cereals, pasta, etc., causes the blood sugar to rise rapidly. Now, to counter this, in other words, to protect your arteries, your veins, and your eyes, and so on, the body produces hormones to neutralize the sugar, the chief hormone being insulin, which is made by the pancreas. After years and years of having to produce massive amounts of insulin many times a day, the pancreas simply can't cope anymore and starts producing less and less insulin, causing diabetes. Another factor that comes into play is that of insulin resistance. After years and years of having to contend with massive amounts of insulin on a daily basis, the cells become resistant to it, resulting in less being assimilated into the cells when the pancreas does produce. So you've got a double whammy here. Number one, your pancreas is not producing enough. And number two, whatever it is producing is not being assimilated into the cells because they become resistant to it. Being overweight aggravates this process. And there's a very strong link between obesity and diabetes. The current theory is that fat releases protein and fatty acids which interfere with the body's capacity to store the glucose. So you get the picture. It's obvious that diet, an unhealthy diet, and excess weight are the main causes of type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes used to be called age-onset diabetes. It was an old people's disease. But today we're seeing young children with it. And this is attributed almost exclusively to bad diet. Here's a graphic that shows you what happens. When you get up in the morning and you have your cup of coffee or tea with 3 or 4 teaspoons of sugar in it, and then you have some breakfast cereal which is covered in sugar, or you have a piece of toast with jam on it, and what happens is that your blood sugar goes sky high. So your body starts producing insulin to try and protect you, and it kicks in and drops the blood sugar level down. So here by mid-morning, 10, 11 o'clock, your blood sugar level has dipped so low, you're not starting to have cravings, you've got the shakes, you can't concentrate and so on. So what happens? Most people will then have a cup of tea and a piece of cake or a sweet or a chocolate or something, and there we go again. This blood sugar level skyrockets. The body pushes out masses of insulin, and this goes on all day long, this roller coaster of too much blood sugar because the insulin has reduced. Now, there's a couple of other problems here. When we're in this phase, the body's got all this excess sugar, excess glucose, and there's more than what we need to produce energy. So what happens is your body starts producing fat. It starts manufacturing fat. And when you get into this stage down here, where you don't have enough, your body decides that, hey, it's going into starvation mode. So it starts hanging on to the fat. So it stores fat. So we're making fat, storing fat, making fat, storing fat, making fat, storing fat all day long. Now you can understand why people become overweight and why it's so difficult for people to lose weight. The ideal is to have your blood sugar level strictly controlled and even throughout the day. And then you don't have those fluctuations and you don't have the fat manufacturing and the fat storage. Your body burns up the energy and it burns up the excess fat for energy. Now, the exciting news is that you don't have to suffer from diabetes. By making simple lifestyle choices, you can prevent it. And if you have diabetes, these same lifestyle choices can control and even reverse the disease. There's overwhelming scientific evidence today showing that diabetes need not cause the problems it does. Lifestyle changes are the answer, not medication. For example, here's a study that was done in the George Washington University over a 3-year period, and it showed that lifestyle changes were more than twice as effective as taking the diabetes drug metformin. There's another study in which they took overweight and obese subjects with diabetes and insulin resistant, and they put them on a controlled diet combined with a daily exercise program. The results showed a 50% reversal in diabetes and insulin resistance after just 3 weeks. So I think you get the picture that diet and exercise and lifestyle changes are the way to go. The first step in preventing or controlling diabetes is to ensure that you're not overweight. Now, an easy way to check this is by calculating your body mass index, your BMI. The problem with standing on the scale is that it doesn't tell you the true picture of your health status. For instance, let's say you've been trying to lose weight and you've been exercising and cutting down on the calories. Well, you'll be building up some muscle, which weighs more than fat. So the scale's not actually going to show you that you're losing weight. So you get despondent about that. So what you do is you take your weight in kilograms and you divide it by your height in meters squared. And depending what answer you get will tell you whether you're underweight, normal weight, overweight, or obese. To give you an example, let's imagine that you weigh 63 kilograms and you're 1.67 meters high. Well, if you divide the 63 kilograms, 63 by 1.67 squared, you get an answer of 22.4, which means you're normal weight, but just because the normal ranges from 18 to 24 point. So you're bordering on the high side. Now, this is actually me. So what it meant was I needed to lose a kilogram or two just to be nicely in the middle. So that's a simple way of checking your health status. The next thing is to sort out your diet. So we need to start trying to eliminate all the refined carbs. Cut down on anything white flour, white sugar, white bread, white rice, etc. Carbonated drinks, in other words, colas and things like that, red meats, fried and fast foods, processed foods, packaged foods, junk foods, alcohol. Alcohol's full of sugar. Okay, it's got masses of sugar, caffeine, colorants, flavorants, preservatives. They all affect your sugar levels. Now, don't expect to do this overnight. That's not realistic. Do it gradually. So, for example, if you usually have 3 teaspoons of sugar in your coffee, start taking 2.5. I promise you won't notice the difference. But do that for a couple of days, a week, 10 days, and then cut it down to 2. And then after a little while, cut it down to 1.5 until you've cut it down so much that your taste buds have been re-educated and you'll be happy with no sugar. Okay? And it's the same with the junk foods and so on. We're not saying cut it out immediately. We know that's not possible. Start cutting down and start increasing the good stuff. The fresh fruit and vegetables, the whole grains, the pulses. Pulses are things like beans, lentils, chickpeas, etc. Nuts, fish, chicken, grill them, don't fry them. Steam your veg rather than boil them. Eat them raw if you can. Increase the amount of water you drink. You should have at least 8 glasses of good quality water every day. This will help your body flush away toxins and pollutants instead of storing them, which adds to the problem. Okay. Increase your fiber intake. We'll talk about fiber in more detail a little bit more, but fiber is really, really important. And then what you want to do is, if you do have diabetes, eat 5 small meals through the day instead of just 2 big meals. What it'll do is it'll help you control your blood sugar levels and stabilize them throughout the day. Whenever you have some food, make sure that you have complex carbohydrates, so in other words, unrefined carbohydrates with protein. So for instance, if you're having a little mid-morning snack, like a whole wheat Provita with some cheese on it, would be a good idea. Okay. Some specifics that we can give you there is change your diet to a low GI diet, a low glycemic index diet. Now, low GI foods include oats, whole grains, brown rice, chickpeas, lentils, pears, plums, apples, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, mushrooms, beans, leafy green vegetables, tomatoes, etc. Increase your daily fiber intake. Fiber helps to absorb sugar and prevent it from getting into the bloodstream. It actually soaks up the sugar like a sponge, traps it, and then it gets eliminated from your body before it can get absorbed into your bloodstream. Try to combine protein with complex carbohydrates, as I've already said, in each meal. This helps to stabilize your blood sugar levels. And eat a teaspoon of cinnamon every day. Cinnamon contains an ingredient called MHCP, which mimics insulin, improving glucose metabolism. So sprinkle it on your porridge, on your oats, put it into curries, into stews, fruit salads. You can mix it in honey and spread it on your toast. You can add it to yogurt and put it in your shakes and your herbal teas. But just get some cinnamon every day. It's inexpensive and it works wonders. Then you want to supplement as well. Start off by taking a multivitamin, multimineral supplement that includes chromium. Chromium increases your cell sensitivity to insulin. And take an omega-3 supplement. Omega-3 helps to lower insulin resistance, and it's also non-inflammatory. And science is telling us today that low-grade chronic inflammation is a major cause and a major foundation for all chronic diseases, including diabetes. Now, it's very important not to take extra omega-6. Okay, so don't take an omega-3, 6, and 9 or omega-3, 6 supplement. We get far too much omega-6 in our diet already from all the plant oils, margarines, and so on. And omega-6 is very inflammatory. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory, but omega-6 causes inflammation, and you don't want that. The third thing you want to do is to get enough sleep. You need to get at least 8 hours sleep every night. Lack of sleep causes an increase in levels of ghrelin. It's a hormone which increases your appetite, and it decreases, lack of sleep decreases the levels of leptin, a hormone that makes you feel full. So the obvious result is you eat more and put on weight. Okay, so it's very important to get enough sleep. And then fourthly, increase your amount of daily exercise. Just a brisk half-hour walk every day will make a huge difference. Use the stairs instead of the lift. Park at the furthest end of the car park. Don't go try and park right outside the front door. There's a very interesting set of research comes out of the University of Missouri, Columbia, where they showed that rats that had regular exercise increased their sensitivity to insulin. Then they stopped the rats exercising. Their insulin sensitivity decreased by 33% in just 48 hours, and it continued to decrease for as long as the rats were inactive. As soon as they got their rats exercising again, their insulin sensitivity increased again. And it's exactly the same with human beings. The more active you are, the more efficient your metabolic process is, and the more you're going to be able to utilize that excess sugar and glucose. Inactivity reduces this process, which requires greater amounts of insulin to remove the glucose from your bloodstream. Now, this is just a little bit about what we know about preventing and controlling diabetes by lifestyle choices. There's overwhelming scientific evidence today to prove that diabetes need not be the scourge it has become, and that medications are less effective and far more costly than lifestyle changes. So I think you'll agree with me that it makes sense to take control of your health. After all, it's your life and you only got one, and not leave it in the hands of the medical profession. While there is a place for medical intervention, it's up to us to do what we can to maintain our healthy lifestyle and not expect the doctor to fix what shouldn't have been broken in the first place. Now, very important, if you're already taking diabetes medication, do not stop taking it without first discussing it with your doctor and discussing with him or her the alternatives that you'd like to pursue and how to cut down and so on. But if your doctor's not open to listening to alternatives or working with you, developing alternatives to drug therapy, then perhaps you should go find a more enlightened doctor. The other good news is there's a company that can help you. It's called Neolife. Neolife's been around for almost 60 years. It was founded in 1958. Next year, we'll celebrate 60 years in business. It's an international company that works all over the world, and they are the world leaders in organic whole food supplements. They've got over 30 world firsts in product development. There's no other company that comes close. They're recognized all over the world by scientific and research organizations as being leaders in the world of supplement manufacture and nutritional research. And they have a world-renowned and respected scientific advisory board, a global science network, and a health professional council that go towards developing and researching the different products. Their scientific advisory board is made up of world-leading scientists. Each one is a world leader in his or her field. And they consult to the company and look at what's happening in the world, what the challenges, what the health challenges are in the world, what the trends are, and then suggest products and how to manufacture them and how to develop them and so on. And then allied to that, Neolife has got something that no other company in the world has, and that's a health professionals council. Each one of the people you see on this slide is a practicing medical specialist in his or her field. Now, what often happens is we have scientists sitting in laboratories, dreaming up things, but having no idea of what's actually happening out there in the marketplace, on the street. These guys are dealing with patients every single day. They know exactly what the health problems are facing people on a daily basis. They know what's increasing, what's not working, what is working. So they consult with the scientists, and together we come up and we have phenomenal product. That's how come Neolife can have over 30 world firsts. Now let me just tell you a couple of products that will help you if you have diabetes. The first one is called Formula 4 Plus. It's a multivitamin, multi-mineral. It's the foundation of good health. Contains chromium, just as I said it needs to. But it also contains something called treanin, which no other product in the world contains. Treonine is the world's first phytonutrient supplement. It contains lipids and sterols from whole grains. These lipids and sterols are actually essential oils, and they have been completely removed from our modern diets by modern milling methods. For instance, you can take any wheat product you like, and there won't be any wheat germ oil in it because oil goes rancid. So food manufacturers remove the oils from all our grains so that we have shelf life. Now, they're called essential because our body can't make them, and they do a whole lot of really, really important things. But as with all Neolife's products, Formula 4 has been clinically proved to increase cellular functioning, and that's important because everything in your body happens in the cells. The results are that, firstly, you get better use of available nutrients. So whatever food you're eating, whatever medication you're taking, whatever supplements you're taking are going to be better utilized by the cells, which means you get better value for money and better results. It also enhances cardiovascular development, and as we've seen, cardiovascular problems are a major killer for people with diabetes. And it increases your energy levels and improves your response to stress, both of which are a problem with diabetes. If we look at the graphs, and if we just look at this one on improved nutrient efficiency, you can see that with Treonine, the results were twice as good. In other words, it's 100% improvement over when there was no Treonine. This is a product that will really make a difference to you. Just to explain how it works, as I said, everything in this body works within the cells. Everything starts in the cells. And the cells have a membrane around them, this purple thing and this thing. And what that membrane or skin does is it determines what gets into the cells and, just as important, what gets out. When you eat something, the nutrients, when you take medication, whatever, those nutrients, that medication, supplements, the vitamins, the minerals, whatever it is, have to get into the cells before you can start benefiting. When they get into the cells, you get a little chemical reaction taking place, and then you have some exhaust fumes, waste products, that have to be eliminated from the cell. It's exactly the same as your car engine. You put the fuel in, you ignite it, and that creates energy, but there's leftovers, the exhaust fumes, and that has to be exhausted out for the thing to operate efficiently. Now, without those lipids and sterols, what happens is that membrane starts to get hard and impermeable, inflexible. So what happens is the good stuff can't get in and the bad stuff can't get out. The minute you start taking Treonine, the skin around your cell, that cell membrane starts to get soft and permeable again, and the whole process starts working more efficiently. The very first thing you're going to notice is a major increase in energy levels. Then we have omega-3 salmon oil plus. Now, lots and lots of people know about omega-3. It's huge today. It's good for your eyes, your joints, your brain, your heart, your cholesterol, everything. What most people don't know, though, is that every single omega supplement that you can buy out there is incomplete. You see, there are 8 members of the omega-3 family in nature, and all the supplements out there contain only 2, DHA and EPA. Now, the problem is that each one of these 8 factors builds on the other one. So if you're only getting EPA, which is number 5 in the chain, you're missing out the first 4. It means the 5th one, EPA, is not nearly as effective in your body as it would be if you had the others. And DHA is number 8. So you can see that you need all 8 to get the best benefit. Omega-3 salmon oil plus from Neolife is the first and only full spectrum omega-3 supplement today. And it's clinically proven to do a whole lot of things. Firstly, it's bioavailable. In other words, it will be absorbed by your cells and utilized, as are all Neolife's products. Secondly, it reduces triglycerides by 17%, which will help reduce heart problems. As we've seen, heart problems are a major problem with people with diabetes. It lowers inflammatory index, which is also very, very important because, as I've said, low-grade chronic inflammation has been recognized as being the underlying cause of all chronic disease, including diabetes. It improves your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio by 43%. This is very important because that also helps to reduce your inflammation. And then we have Neolife's fiber products. Firstly, we have fiber tablets. This contains fiber from 8 different sources. These are tablets. They're quick and easy to use, and they're really inexpensive. Take 2 tablets with a big glass of water half an hour before a meal, and what happens is these tablets swell up over 50 times their size. So number one, they make you feel fuller, so you eat less, good to lose weight. But number two, they're very effective at soaking up the excess sugar and eliminating it from your system before it can get absorbed into the bloodstream. And then we have multi-fiber blend, which is absolutely unique. This is not a powder, it's more like flakes, but it contains fiber from 16 different sources. And this is really versatile. Okay, you can sprinkle it into meals, into casseroles, into stews. You can put it in baked foods like muffins or stuff. You can add it to shakes or Nutri-Shake, or yogurts or smoothies. It's a really phenomenal product that you can use anywhere. And as we've said, fiber is really important. So here's a couple of ways of increasing your fiber content every day, which will really help your blood sugar levels and help you to lose weight. And then we have Neolife Shake, protein shakes. These are the perfect meal replacements. Each one contains 18 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, and only 580 kilojoules. Think about having an entirely balanced meal with only 580 kilojoules. It's phenomenal. They've got some incredible features. Firstly, they're made with Neolife's exclusive ProtoGuard process, which protects the amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, from being denatured. So you're getting maximum nutritional value. Neolife Shake also contains all the 22 amino acids required by the human body on a daily basis. It's the only product I've ever seen that does. The next nearest that I've seen contains about 14 amino acids, and most of them are synthetic, which means your body doesn't even recognize them. It also utilizes Neolife's exclusive GR2 technology, which helps to stabilize blood sugar levels. So using this as a meal replacement will mean you've got energy for a couple of hours, but you've also got stable blood sugar levels for a couple of hours. There's a multi-enzyme blend that helps you digest it more efficiently. It also contains a whole lot of vitamins and minerals, including choline and inositol, which help to support fat utilization and resist fat buildup. Okay, very, very important for losing weight and for diabetics. Contains all the essential vitamins and minerals, and best of all, it tastes fantastic. You've got 3 really wonderful flavors: berries and cream, creamy vanilla, and rich chocolate, and they're all fantastic. So those are just a couple of things that Neolife can help you with. So if you're watching this for the first time tonight, what are your options? Well, firstly, you can invest in these fantastic products and ensure that you and your family get the ultimate protection today. Speak to the person who invited you to watch this. Secondly, if you want to be more proactive and use the product on a monthly basis, why not consider joining Neolife Club? It's free. You can buy the products online. You'll get special discounts. And if you introduce others, you'll benefit. Or thirdly, if you really want to get the most benefit, why not have a look at the incredible business opportunity that goes with these products? You can register online. You can get phenomenal financial benefits, discounts on the products, and you can end up creating an alternative source of income which can help supplement your income, maybe even replace it. Speak to the person who invited you for more details. And if you want more information about meal plans, weight loss plans, etc., we'd be happy to help you. I've really enjoyed chatting to you tonight. I hope I've given you enough information to help you start making some more informed choices and take control of your diabetes and your health. So that's it from me tonight, folks. Good night. God bless.